Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Deus Ex Human Revolution? Deus Ex Human Revolution is a Deus Ex game. What else could you need to know? Well, an awful lot, I can tell you for a fact. So Deus Ex is the third game in the Deus Ex series, Human Revolution that is. Some people consider it the second game because Invisible War, the supposed sequel to Deus Ex, was not well liked. I was one of the people that disliked it intensely. Did not like that game one little bit. So Human Revolution is not actually by Ironstorm, which was the original developer of Deus Ex. It's by Eidos Montreal. So they're giving it a shot. This is a prequel to the original Deus Ex game. I have currently played around 18 hours of this game because, quite frankly, I do not believe in doing WTF Is over RPGs. It just doesn't work. The only way you can do it is by going a significant way into the game. Because of the way RPGs are, because of how slow burning they are, you cannot do first impressions videos. You simply cannot do it. For a first-person shooter, fairly easy to do. You can pick up the mechanics, you can pick up how linear it is pretty quickly. And you might say, well, Deus Ex is a first-person shooter. Well, not really. Deus Ex is a first-person RPG, and that is a rather rare genre. More to the point, making it even rarer and taking it past things like Borderlands and, say, of course, Hellgate London, it is a fairly non-linear open-world first-person perspective RPG, and that takes it into a very, very small genre indeed. Amongst, of course, there is the original Deus Ex, and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the best games to ever be made for PC, but my god was it buggy when it came out, and it took an awful lot of aftercare to get that game into a state of being fully playable, and it is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so to preface this particular video before I start, this is about 17 hours into the game on my speed of doing it. Bear in mind two things. One, I'm playing this on Give Me a Deus Ex difficulty level, which is the hardest. And it is hard. Secondly, I spend a lot of time exploring every single little thing, reading every email, reading every ebook, hacking every door. Pretty much anything that I can do within a hub area, I will go out of my way to do. So I go through the game at a fairly slow pace. There are some people who play it like the way that I play it, who are saying that it takes about 45 hours to finish this game. Others are saying it can be done in around 25. The original game could have very easily been done in around 25. However, if you were to take your time, it would take a lot longer. So, what I'm going to try and do is avoid major story spoilers. I'm not going to go and advance the story in this video if I can possibly avoid it. If I can, cool. If I can't, what I'm probably going to do is cut out any meaningful conversation that leaks the plot to you too much, because I would like you guys to be able to watch this video if you've not gotten up to the point that I have yet, or, of course, if you haven't bought the game yet. So I'll be doing side missions, I'll be doing exploration, I'll be showing you mechanics, I'll be going in-depth on pretty much everything I think of this game up until this point. Now, I had thoughts about, say, making a list of bullet points, and you know what, I don't really think that's appropriate for a game like this. For a game like this, what I want to do is just play it and try and give you my most honest thoughts off the top of my head without preparation, because I think that's the fairest way to do it. Without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Now, as a result of the loading screens actually giving you story spoilers, I have blacked out this loading screen. Simply because I don't want you to be spoiled on this. Not at all. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in China. This is one of the hub areas of the game. It is not the first. But yes, you end up in China for whatever reason, and quite frankly, if you didn't end up in some kind of Asian territory, then it wouldn't be too much of a Deus Ex game, would it? Let's read some ebooks. There are an awful lot of these things. There are apparently over 400 unique ebooks and emails within the game for you to read. There's a lot of information. First thing you'll probably notice is how striking some of the environments are in this game. And the fact that everything is bronze. People keep making the comment that, well, we wanted orange. Well, you got orange. It is quite an orange game. You'll notice these little glowing outlines here as well. These are optional within the game. Personally, I don't find these all that offensive, considering they only trigger at a certain range and you have to aim at them. If they were pointing you across the entire place, then yes, that would be a problem. There is also an option to enable objective markers. I don't have those on, I don't believe. We'll have a look at the options, actually, before we go on, because this is going to be concerning to a lot of Deus Ex fans. To be honest, I would think that most Deus Ex fans have probably bought the game already, but hey, some may be holding out. Automatic inventory management. Basically, you can avoid playing inventory Tetris. Allow me to demonstrate what I mean by that. So, they have a proper Deus Ex style inventory this time around, so the whole Deus Ex 2 nonsense, that can go to hell. You can see I'm packing quite a lot of heat. I'm actually carrying 6 weapons. Standard. 2 handguns. This thing. I don't really want to talk about this thing just yet. We might show you it in action. It's quite cool. It's a crossbow here, combat rifle, and tranquilizer rifle. These have been heavily modified. I also have stacks of ammunition and things like that. It's one of the first changes within the game, actually, that ammo, it takes inventory capacity, whereas it didn't in the first game, which can be problematic at times. You'll notice crossbow bolts, for instance, are a bit of a pain in the ass, because they take 3 inventory blocks, but they do stack to a reasonable degree. So yeah, automatic inventory management will shuffle things around to pick up things as long as you've got enough squares. If you don't have that on, you have to play inventory Tetris, which means you have to move things around. Say we were to move that there. You can also rotate something if you so desire. Were to move something and then you right-click to flip the item around. So yeah, that's what inventory Tetris actually means. Some people really like that, some people don't. You do have an option. As regards to this glowing thing, well, you've got objective locators. I have that turned off because I think that's a little bit too ridiculous. Object highlight, that's what it's like if it's on. We can turn it off here. You also have a field of view, by the way. There is fairly extensive field of view options, which should please you. Cover style, hold, or toggle. Personally, I prefer toggle. And you can show the reticule if you so desire. Basically, that will force you to look down iron sights if you don't have it on. You've also got cover and take down prompts. You can turn these off if you feel if it's a little bit too console-y. I personally left them on because the cover system took a little bit of getting used to. Haven't bothered to turn them off yet. As you'll notice here, there are now no object highlights of any description, unless you walk near something. The main problem I have with the object highlight system, compared to, say, the first game, is that you pick between either having glowing highlights that you can see from about 20-30 feet away, or none whatsoever, and you have to rely on that popping up. Now, that's okay at this resolution, which is 1280 by 720. It is not okay at 2560 by 1600, where the UI is significantly smaller. You can sometimes barely even notice that popping up. Now, in the original Deus Ex, there would be a little box that would pop up around these when you got close enough, and to be honest, it's kind of irritating, but it's not really too big a deal. It's not as ridiculous as people were making it out to be when they first saw these. As far as I'm concerned, it's a fairly reasonable compromise simply because of the distance. You can see right there. If I'm this far away, I'm not going to see those. It does make it a little bit obvious, like, say, for vents, but the thing is, air vents are so bloody obvious anyway, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Right, anyway, so that's some basic stuff about that out of the way. I think we're going to advance our side quest just a little bit, and then you can see some of the dialogue in action, and more accurately, hear it.
Shove off, before I shove you off.
I'm here to see you.
Uh-huh. What about?
Ning,
Open the phone book. Plenty of them in there.
your friends are holding her. I can make it worth your while if you tell me where.
Worth my while? Yeah, maybe. Let's see some credits first, the tough guy, and then maybe I'll tell you where to find her.
Okay, so I've got some options here, and this is a side quest to locate a working girl who has gotten missing. This is all part of the big augmentation debate that is the big, massive, running thematic element throughout this game. It's all about augmentation. Is augmentation right? Is augmentation wrong? Things like that, and it's actually a lot deeper than you might think. Now, here I actually have an augmentation that will allow me to influence him via the use of release of pheromones, and throughout this conversation I've been keeping an eye on his personality type, and all of the indicators have indicated that this guy is an alpha personality type, so I want to do something appropriate for dealing with an alpha. Or I could bribe him 2,000. I'm not going to bribe him. I'm going to convince him. Now, there are a couple of things you can do here. In this case, I've seen no indication that he's a beta personality type. Pressure is a really bad idea because he's obviously alpha, so it seems like appeasing him would be a good idea. So I'm going to use the convince pheromones and see what happens. Can we convince him to give us Ning's location?
I gotta make sure she's okay first. She'll be a lot more valuable to me and you if she's alive and in one piece, if you know what I mean.
I get it. Smart businessman you are. Okay. I'll tell you. They're holding her on a small side street just off the open gutter in the Daigong district. But listen, I didn't say anything, right?
Indeed. You said absolutely nothing. Now, I've got some experience for that as well, so this would be a good time to tell you how the experience system works. So let's hit the tab to access all of our stuff. You've seen the inventory. Don't need to worry too much about that. There's also quest item inventory, by the way, so you don't need to worry about things like this actually getting in the way. Alright, so there's our missions. You do have tracking on the mini-map, so that will help you find your way. And in some of these hub areas that are absolutely massive, it's kind of required. I can't think of a bigger hub area in, say, the original Deus Ex than the stuff that's available here. I don't think Hell's Kitchen was that big. I certainly don't think Paris was that big. So, yeah, these things are pretty large, and they're multi-level as well. And sometimes navigation can become quite tricky in places. Alright, so, experience. So, experience system works like this. Now, it's saying next praxis. What is that? You gain praxis points. Praxis points will allow you to unlock these abilities. Basically, these are already in you, but you have to activate them as you go along. And there are various reasons for that. If you've watched any of the trailers, you know exactly why this guy is augmented to begin with, so I don't really need to worry about spoiling that too much. Basically, they were a little bit worried that if they put them all on simultaneously, the trauma would be too much. So, as you gain more experience, you can turn on more of these, or you can get praxis kits, which will give you an instant praxis point. So, in this game, as opposed to, say, the original Deus Ex, they've mixed the skill system and the augment system. So in Deus Ex, you gain experience in order to increase various skills, and in Deus Ex Human Revolution, you gain experience to augment everything, and augmenting and skills are pretty much mixed together. For instance, the hacking skill in Deus Ex is actually here in terms of 4, yes, I did just say 4 different upgrades for hacking. Hacking is a big deal. So I've actually fully upgraded hacking capture. So I can hack level 5 terminals, I can dominate robots, turrets, I can disable them or turn them against each other and things like that. I can also deactivate cameras linked to security hubs. So I am the quintessential hacker in that regard. However, that doesn't make me the ultimate hacker. You need other upgrades in order to make that happen. For instance, here, hacking stealth, I've upgraded this. This decreases chance of detection when capturing hacking nodes by a certain amount, and I'll try to find you somewhere to hack at some point, and I can show you how it works. Also, fortify upgrades. This all links into the hacking minigame, and there's an analysis add-on here as well, so you can put a lot into that. Some more active augments, for instance, we could go for, say, Typhoon Explosive System. This is an active upgrade, and this is something that you activate by pressing a button. There are some of those. The Icarus Landing System, for instance, is kind of active, although it activates automatically. So you've got a mixture of stuff that would be skills in Deus Ex, and things that were also augments in Deus Ex, but some of them are now sort of melded together. Cloaking system is back from Deus Ex, for instance. Dermal armor upgrades. These are actually passive this time around, so that's something to consider, as opposed to in the original Deus Ex, where it would often be an active upgrade that you turn on, or you perhaps use ballistic armor that you found around the place. Smart Vision is back, things like that, and there are some new stuff like the augment that you just saw. I believe there's a cranium upgrade, the social enhancer right here, the emotional intelligence enhancer, analyze people and, of course, use pheromones to persuade them to do different things. Very, very handy indeed. The overall selection of augments in this game seems pretty decent. I would have liked to see them perhaps go a little bit further with the active augmentations. I have a feeling that a lot of these decisions were made with the console in mind. And the reason I say this is because you can't have too many buttons on a console controller. Augments on the original Deus Ex, they went all the way up to like about F12, yeah? In fact, I'm fairly sure they did. I'm pretty sure F12 was light, if I recall correctly, which is what you started with. So you had a ton of buttons to play with. You don't have that on the consoles, so you can't have all that many active augments. So a lot of these are either passive or context sensitive. For instance, Icarus landing system. You can actually do a stun right there as you go down. You just press the fire button, as opposed to, say, in the original Deus Ex, that would have probably been a separate button in and of itself. And I don't view that as a bad thing. I would have, however, liked to see a few less context sensitive augments and a few more active. I have a feeling they could have gone a little bit further with that. Okay, so yeah, that's the augmentation system. That's how experience happens. And experience you gain for pretty much doing everything. And the problem then arises that there are certain methods that will actually give you more experience than others. For instance, the issue of lethal and non-lethal takedowns. Let's tackle that one first. You can do a lethal or a non-lethal takedown on pretty much anything. Can I go over the edge here? Yes, I can. Well, that makes things a little bit easier, doesn't it? That was the Icarus landing system in action, by the way. You do get that cutscene every single time. You may get sick of it. Okay. I'm actually heading over to try and find the limb clinic, because I want to get some upgrades. So let me talk about experience while I am doing that in the process. This is probably the worst way to do the live commentary, because navigating this area is actually kind of tricky. There's a lot of stuff here. Like, for instance, the limb clinic is, if I recall correctly, on a different level. I'm currently on this level here. If I go higher, you can see more stuff there as well. Can I see the limb clinic on here? No. Is it perhaps... Yes, it's actually one level down. So you've got to find a staircase to take you one level down. I have a feeling that would be it right there. So I need to turn around and go in this direction. So if I do a non-lethal takedown, I get a mercy bonus. And that mercy bonus actually is higher than a lethal takedown would be. So doing a non-lethal takedown is always the optimal way of doing things. And speaking of that, look, there's a stun gun over there with some ammo. I already have a stun gun, but stun gun ammo is quite hard to get a hold of in large amounts. So it would be quite nice to grab that. See if I can actually find these stairs. I believe they were down here. This should take me to where I need to go, I believe. Ooh, and this will allow me to show hacking. And this obviously brings up another point with experience. So, there are ways of power gaming this game pretty hard. Allow me to demonstrate one of them. So, this right here, this is the hacking system. The hacking system in this game incorporates both hacking and unlocking, as it was in Deus Ex, which used lockpicks and multi-tools. In this case, those things do not exist in this game. I believe you can get an automatic unlocking device as some kind of pre-order bonus, which has limited uses, but that really is about it. So either you're going to punch in a code, and you do so manually in the way that you would expect, which is kind of cool, or you hack it. Now, I'm a very, very strong hacker in this game. I've invested a ton of points into it, so I can hack pretty much anything. So allow me to show this. This minigame is actually pretty fun, and in my opinion, is much superior to the stuff that we got in the original game, which was pretty much down to how good is your hacking skill and how quickly can you turn stuff off before getting caught. This game actually involves a little bit of tactical thinking, because in almost every one of these hacks, there are these blocks right here. Now, I can bring up the help to actually show you what's going on. These blocks are data stores. Data stores, they have bonuses in them. Now, it takes you longer to hack the data store and then get to the registry, which is your exit point, before being detected by the defense system, but you will gain bonuses for doing so. What that means is that hacking is basically the optimal and power gamey way. Even if you have the key, even if you have the code to get through, you should hack the door anyway, if you know that you've got the skill to do so. Now, if you get bored of this hacking game, then that could be a bit of a problem, because if you want to be power gaming, you're going to have to do this. Thankfully, in my opinion, it's kind of cool and it doesn't take that long to do. But, as far as I'm concerned, you should also be rewarded for actually looking around and finding the code. Sometimes you do get exploration reward bonuses, but more often than not, you want to be hacking, you want to be getting these data stores all the time, because they have so much stuff. I mean, look at this. I actually have 11 of these so-called nuke viruses up here. 11. That's a lot of nuke viruses, folks. If any of you have played, like, the first hub area, you'll be lucky to even get one. But because I've been hacking so much and hacking so many of these data stores, I have a huge stack of these things. Now, nuke viruses, they allow you to undetectably hack one node instantly, which can help if you're going up against a particularly difficult hack. I also have stop worms, which will stop the timer if I get detected for a few seconds. Okay, so what you need to do is reach this green point here, and you do so by hacking directories and going through various things here. There is this up here, a transfer node. Transfer will actually increase or decrease the security levels on things connected to it. The higher the security level, the longer it takes to hack. So I'm going to start here. My detection rate is very, very low. But this is very much luck-based. I could have been detected then, that could have screwed me over entirely, which generally means I have to disconnect and try and start again. And of course, if I get detected in some areas, that sets an alarm off, so that's not exactly ideal. The luck-based element of this game does add quite a lot of tension to it, but it is, in many cases, very random and quite frustrating as a direct result of that. That says you can sort of change that by having these worms using that. So I've hacked 2 of these data stores. I don't really need to hack anything else, so I'm going to go right through here and I'm going to open this door and find out exactly what's in there. And I wasn't detected there at all. You'll notice that I get a grey hat bonus right there. There are various hacking bonuses depending on speed, competence, and things like that. I also got a script kiddie bonus. So there you go. And I can actually go into the storage locker and I will find things. And a very convenient time to show off the weapon upgrade system. So, we found ourselves a weapon upgrade, just like the original. What do? We combine it with something. So, what would I reload this with? Probably the tranquilizer rifle. That's actually got a really long reload time, so I'm going to augment that. There we go. My rifle is augmented. That will show you the kind of upgrades that I have here. There's the bonus. I've actually put a couple of reload speed mods on this, so this reloads much faster than it did, which is good. I also have a target leading system, which is a special upgrade for this particular weapon. You can stack multiple upgrades on a lot of different weapons, which is good. You can find these upgrades at vendors. Yes, there are actually vendors in this game. I will get around to showing you how that works, because there is an economy system in this game, which I also want to talk about. Or you can find them lying around the world. They do take up quite a lot of space, so you might want to try and use them almost immediately. Alright, cool. So, you're going to find a lot of these storage lockers in this game. There's a massive number of them, in fact. We can throw some crates around if we like. You'll notice that this crate is actually taking damage as I throw it, which is kind of neat. Or, of course, I can simply shatter it by shooting at it. There we go. You cannot melee the crates. This is kind of weird, by the way. Really weird. The melee system in this game is sort of bizarre, but we'll talk about combat a little bit later, particularly if we actually get involved in some of it. That would be neat. So, as I said, the way that the experience system works, so it's good in some areas, but in others it does encourage some very power gaming aspects. For instance, I end up, and I'm actually very, very embarrassed to say this, I ended up going back to a big decision to change what I did through a saved file, because there was a more optimal way of doing it that gave you more experience, but I disagreed with it. It's like, I didn't actually want to do it that way, but it was the best route. For instance, talking your way out of a situation gives you a silver tongue bonus, which is a huge experience boost. So if you're looking to get the maximum number of praxis, more often than not, you're wanting to take a solution which you perhaps don't want to do. Perhaps you just want to fight it or whatever, and that could be a bit of a problem. In some areas, the game does balance it by giving you other rewards, but there does seem to be an optimum way of doing everything, which I never really got that feeling in Deus Ex. That's something that it bothers me. It niggles at the back of my mind. Anyway, we're trying to find our way into the limb clinic. There are a set of stairs over there. I believe that should take me in the right direction if I am correct. Looks like I am. Finally find my up to this bloody place.
Looking for a good time in Hansa? I recommend you try the Hive nightclub. 2 for 1 drink night. Every night. It's on Jihu Street.
Yes, and I just got an experience bonus for hiding in this guy's cupboard. You know, hey, why not? Sometimes opening doors like that will bother people, but other times you can just literally nick stuff from under their nose and they don't care. RPG style. Right. Where is the limb clinic? I assume up here. And then I've been looking for this for the past hour in this area. It's like, where is the limb clinic? I just do not know. Ooh, stun gun nuts. Useful. Grab those. Explore every nook and cranny. You will find ammunition. And for stuff like stun guns and non-lethal weapons, that's kind of important. I now have absolutely no idea where I am. Where is the limb clinic? Yeah, we actually need to be going down, not up. I think that's the reason we ended up like that. Be blinded by its bronzy, orange, goldy Art Deco goodness.
在当地的 limb 诊所
Oh
里，
yes.
我从来没见过那样的手，他们看起来
They are my vision and my hands are augmented. Okay. We shall find our way to this goddamn limb clinic. It said it was up in this direction. It's really annoying trying to find stuff like that.
What are you looking for, Long Way?
Ooh.
Guns? Hacking equipment?
What makes you think I'm looking for that kind of stuff?
Hey,
That sounds useful.
I don't want to step on your toes.
Oh yeah, I already know about him.
Just saying.
Never mind. Always worthwhile
If you
listening
need
to this
anything,
stuff. Now, I don't want to go in this
anything,
direction because this will activate a story mission, and that is not what I'm interested in doing at all. That's the Yuzhiao district, which is the other main area of this hub. And this is actually a huge hub, as you have no doubt seen. Unless the limb clinic's down here. I don't even know. It's whatever. I'm going to stop looking for this thing. What I want to do is try and look for trouble. If I recall correctly, there was another area. Oh, don't tell me it's down here. It actually is as well. We're going to have to find our way over there. I don't know whether it's just my map reading, but I do find navigation in this game particularly tricky. I think it's just because of the way that stuff is set up in a multi-level format and the way that the maps actually read. It's difficult to find your way to the right places. I have a feeling some people don't have that problem. Right. Okay. We'll talk a little bit about augments, for instance. Why is it that an augmented super guy can run for 2.5 seconds before getting really tired? Why is that? Because that is absolutely goddamn ridiculous. Really is stupid, and I don't know what they were playing at in that regard. Not a smart decision, design-wise, as far as I'm concerned. So, there is something else that I don't view as a particularly smart decision. You'll see some batteries in the corner right there, and these are related to a number of things, specifically augments. So, allow me to punch this guy in the face. That actually used a battery, if you can believe it. Punching a guy in the face uses a battery. Now, this battery will slowly recharge. Alternatively, if you want to do a takedown like that and make it lethal, you can do that too. You just hold the button down and out come those arm blades that you've seen in all the trailers and stabby fun time. It is fairly silly. Melee in this game basically doesn't happen. That is the form of melee. And yes, you are hearing what you think you're hearing in the background there. See that radio? Yeah. Deus Ex music is all over the place, including guys whistling the main theme from the old game. And it's badass. There are so many references to the original game here. Absolutely wonderful. I love it. They even took the time to actually make it sound a little bit different. Sometimes they change the shift. They actually pitch shift it around a bit. It's pretty awesome. Most of these hub areas also have kind of sewer areas that will allow you to navigate them.
This is not the place for you. Get out, Lao Wei.
Well, it looks like I found them. Cool.
This is your final warning. Leave!
I think not. Welcome to the stun gun, my favorite weapon in this entire damn game. Just like the cattle prod was my favorite weapon in the original. Now, I cannot carry that machine pistol. It's kind of unfortunate. I could sell that later, but hey. Okay, let's do some combat. So, we got our way through that guard. A quick save, just to make sure we don't do this wrong. Because I am on Give Me Deus Ex mode, I will die in about 4 hits. Like, you die so fast, it's beyond belief. Now, these guys at the moment, they seem fairly friendly. So, you alright? Cool. How about I punch you in the face? Will you be alright after that? Now, he's going to get alarmed by that, and we shall stun him, and down he goes. Ning's guards have now been eliminated. Evidently, she is in there. Cool. We can get her out, no problem whatsoever. Now, you'll notice the bonuses that I got there. A pocket secretary. Useful. There we go. And these will give you codes. The thing is, this is one of the problems I've got. I have a code. Cool. Am I going to use it? No. No, I'm not going to use it. Because hacking it, yes, it's a little longer, but it gives me a bonus because of this data store right here. What's going to be in this data store? I'll also get experience bonus for hacking this quickly and things like that. So I'm going to hack here, here, here. There we go. Let's go all the way in. Just shut up. There we go.
Access granted.
25 experience for the reward download, and another 75, as you can see right there, for bonuses in the corner. If you want a power game, there is an optimal build to use and an optimal playstyle. If you don't want a power game, you're kind of going to be punished for that, and I don't really like that too much. Okay, calm down.
Who are you?
Your friend May sent me. She said you were in trouble. Are you hurt?
May. Thank God. And no, I'm fine. They didn't touch me. Not yet, anyway. If you hadn't come, though, how did you find me?
I asked around. I can be persuasive.
I have to get out of here.
You sure you're okay? Can you leave here on your own?
Yes, thank you. Whoever you are, thank you so much. I need to go. I need to get out of this city. I need to get away from that monster, Chan. Tell May, tell her, thank you for everything. I owe her. I owe you both my life.
And here I am looking stoic and baller as all hell. Oh yes, indeed. Right, so that's through that little side mission there. All dealt with, nice and easy. There didn't seem to be any real alternative to that one other than dealing with the guards. Far as I'm aware, there might have been one, but I don't know what that actually is. A lot of these side missions do have alternatives, and they do have ways of, say, double-crossing the person in order to get a greater reward from somebody else. There's some great examples in the first hub area that I'm a huge fan of. Okay, so combat. You did just see a little bit of combat there, and that was, of course, non-lethal, and I was able to bring them down before they were able to shoot me. You also see this cover system that actually got a lot of drama surrounding it. Personally, I'm totally okay with the cover system. You do not have to use it, except for the fact, of course, that you cannot lean. Yeah? The cover system is basically lean. Yeah? It's the same as lean. It is, for all intents and purposes, lean. It would be nice if lean was also in the game. You can avoid using the cover system entirely. You can stick to cover, or you could not stick to cover. You can just hide this way. It's equally as effective. The main problem being that you can't then peek out and shoot easily, because the most likely you will get shot in the process. So, aside from that, I'm okay with it. So, it's a bit clunky in places. For instance, you hold space in order to round this corner. And then, of course, you hit left or right if you want to duck around this in order to shoot. You can also do the space right there to flick between them, and he'll do various moves in order to get across sometimes a big roll if it's a particularly long distance. For the most part, it does work extremely well, and on Give Me Deus Ex difficulty level, you will almost certainly have to use this. Oh, hi. No, harass is not augmented. Right, limb clinic. Will we ever find the limb clinic? Probably not. But it's okay. We're going to head back to the Henghua Hotel in order to hand in this particular quest.
If you have business on them.
Yes. So there is a police presence in almost every, in fact, as far as I'm aware, every major hub. And the police, especially on this difficulty level, they screw you over bad. You will die so quickly. It is not a good idea to engage them, unless, of course, you're playing on a lower difficulty level and you're playing fully lethal. You can be pretty stealthy about it as well, but they're often around in pairs, which means that taking them both down simultaneously, very hard to do. You can do it with this. That is a PEPS. Very, very nice weapon. It's actually a conal knockout non-lethal weapon. Really, really good. You can't get a lot of ammo for it, though, so I only use it when absolutely necessary. Yeah, I haven't seen the local limb clinic because I can't bloody find it. Anyway, we're going to go back to the hotel. I'll go hand this in. Get a little bit more dialogue. That will also allow me to show you the economy system of this game, because it's a little bit more advanced than the original Deus Ex. And you might think, well, why don't you talk about Deus Ex Invisible War? There was no Deus Ex Human Invisible War. I don't know what you're talking about. Human Invisible War. Good God, what a horrible hybrid that is. I'm trying to think if there's really anything good about the Invisible War game that I'd like to integrate, and no, I'm coming on pretty much nothing. So, this is a brothel, because, hey, why not? And this is where I was earlier. I was sneaking into people's rooms. It was pretty hilarious, listening to their conversations. One of them got into a really deep philosophical debate with a customer who was like, so how much do I owe you? It was pretty cool. I think that might be her. No. No, that is not her at all. As you can see, I've hacked into all these doors and stolen everything of worth in pretty much every one of these rooms. Because, hey, that's just how I roll. Okay, it's on the Yeah, it's on the upper floor. Let's find the stairs, get up to the upper floor, hand this in, and hopefully they'll be very, very, very grateful for my help. We shall see. Alright. It's probably her. Yes, indeed, that's her. There we go.
Ning, did you find her?
Yes, I did.
I did. She's safe, but running. I think she plans on leaving the city.
She always is a smart girl. I'm glad. I will contact her to make sure she is safe. As promised, here's your payment. If you want more, I have another task. Something suitable for a man of your many talents. Are you interested?
My interest would depend on the task.
Indeed.
By now, I'm sure you heard of Diamond Chan. He is evil man who feeds off the pain and misery of this city. If we are to stay in peace here, he must be taken care of.
You want me to kill Chan?
Yes, but you must make it look like an accident or suicide.
That's doable. Interesting. Now, your conversation options will give you all sorts of different things here. Details are always good.
What is it exactly you want me to do?
Lower Hansa is a dangerous place. I know Diamond Chan stay at an apartment near a rooftop. Knock him out, then drop his body into the alley below. Gravity will do the rest.
Indeed. You can find out what payment's involved. The thing is that this sounds highly violent and could cause all manner of different problems. You gotta bear in mind there are some consequences in this game. There are a lot of consequences to certain decisions in this game. Indeed, in the first 15 minutes, you will find that there is a major consequence. Major consequence. I don't really want to spoil it for those of you who haven't played yet, but let me just say that what you do after the initial intro is done, after the prologue, what you do in those 15 minutes does make a big difference.
There has to be another way to remove Chan from the picture without resorting to murder.
There is. I have access to certain stimulants. If Chan was caught with them, he would no longer be a problem.
Meaning I could plant drugs on him.
Not on him. Somewhere in his apartment will be enough. He may be dead though. So knock him out, leave the drug, and come back here to me. I have a friend. He works with the police. I'll contact him and he'll make sure Chan is arrested.
That sounds good. I'm not really the murderous sort in this game. I've actually barely killed anyone. I've been non-lethal pretty much the entire way through because that is just my preferred playstyle. I'll do another playthrough as a ridiculous gun-toting badass with the dermal plating and the explosive upgrades and things like that at some point. Sounds good.
I'll do it.
Good. I will give you the address of Diamond Chan's apartment. It is on one of the nearby rooftops. But if you wish only to get Chan arrested, take these drugs. Plant them so...
Okay, yeah, we don't need any more. She has a really awful accent. I am so sorry, but she does sound pretty bad.
Anything else I should know?
Chan should be alone. He is too proud to have bodyguards around. But be careful. Even alone, Chan is dangerous.
Got it.
Mr. Jensen, remember not to cause any wounds on Diamond Chan that make it look like murder.
So no tranquilizers or peps. Which means strictly hand-to-hand submission shouldn't be a problem.
That is good, yes. Good luck, Mr. Jensen. I will wait here.
So, don't use the stun gun, don't use the trank. Basically punch him in the back of the head and all will go well. Alright. Oh yeah, there's more Deus Ex music there. Also like the way, if you want, and you don't want to hack doors, you could just do this. You could just literally hop from room to room over here. There's tons to explore in this game. It is absolute joy. They've done such a good job making hub areas. The funny thing is the hub areas in this game are more like the hub areas in Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines than they are in the original Deus Ex, but they are better than both of those games put together. One of the best elements of this game is just how detailed these hubs actually are. They are absolutely phenomenal. Right, okay. Well, I can think of a quick way of getting down. That upgrade, so damn useful. Especially on this difficulty level, you can very easily fall to your death without noticing. It's a bit of a problem. Now, there are certain problems that I have with the health system of this game, for instance. Now, you might think, oh my god, you've been so critical up to this point. That is because this is my favorite game series of all time, and I'm going to give you the most detailed goddamn video on it that you've ever seen. That does not mean I don't like this game. No, I actually freaking love it. But I'm going to nitpick the hell out of it, because they've put a lot of work into this. Ergo, as far as I'm concerned, it requires a equally detailed and lengthy description and critique. So the health system in this game is regenerating. I don't really have a problem with that. You can regenerate... Oh. Well, someone is calling me. I'm sorry, he wanted orange and I could only give him lemon lime, so he hung up. Right, anyway. Health system. Regenerating health. Not a problem. Why? Because that was in the original game as well. You had to use an augment in order to do it, but it was there. The bigger problem is the fact that the health system is not detailed. The health system in the original game would allow you to take damage to various areas, including blowing your own goddamn legs off, for instance. This game does not have that at all. So that is just blatant dumbing down to the point where I thought, well, we don't want this in our game. Why? Why not? I suppose it's because of the regenerating health mechanic. There are ways of gaining health instantly and also pushing your health well beyond the normal limits, as you can see right there. You do that by consuming nutrients. In this case, I've actually drunk 3 delicious cocktails that I found in one of the highs around here. They actually give you some fairly major health buffing. But aside from that, I'm really not a huge fan of the health system. I can get past it because it's not really a big deal, but I do feel that they should not have made that change. Okay, right, so where was I going? I believe I had somewhere that I needed to be. Looks like they might both be through there. That's hunting the hacker. Can't actually remember exactly where it was. Did I activate the... Yeah, that's active, okay. He should be in the department of Yungmeng Road in the Yazai district. Right, looks like we're going to have to go in that direction anyway. If there are any major plot spoilers that come in for entering this district, I will cut them out of the video, so don't worry about it. Also, maybe the limb clinic is actually in here. That would have probably made more sense, and would be why I've been spending the past 5 hours trying to find the sodding thing. Well, it would appear they have both orange and lemon lime, so I'm pretty happy about that. Okay. Now, loading times. Something to discuss. You're about to see. This is the loading time off an external USB 3 drive. So it's not the fastest drive, but it's certainly not the slowest either. This is to load into a new area. It's not that bad. On launch, it was much worse than this. They did patch the game. It is a lot better now. I'm not really worried about the loading times at this point. Also, you'll notice the performance seems to be absolutely fine. It's silky smooth at this point on DirectX 11. DirectX 11 was crashing a lot of people's computers that had the... well, just an NVIDIA card in general. This is optimized for AMD and ATI, but it still works just fine in NVIDIA. That seems to have also been resolved with the latest drivers and things like that, to the point where I'm not really having any performance problems. I was having problems on DirectX 9. Like, for instance, there were random frame rate fluctuations when you first went into an area. Here, it seems silky smooth. And also, I'm noticing no mouse problems. There are mouse problems in 2560x1600, however. And I believe that is related to the FOV slider. You'll have to tweak and see what you find to be the best. For these settings, by the way, these run really, really well. They'll probably also run in 1080p really well as well. It's a 1280x720 with a 90 FOV and leaving the mouse sensitivity at default. So that works well. But you're going to have to tweak the FOV depending on what aspect ratio you're in. So it does take a little bit of work. Yes, the limb clinic is in this area. That'll be... I can't freaking find the sodding thing. Okay, let's go and have a look and actually go and deal with the limb clinic, shall we? It would have been nice if there didn't have to be a loading screen between these two things, honestly, but hey, we'll deal with it.
I think bringing in Bell Tower to police the city is a great thing for Shanghai. I'm sure some of those
limb clinic, this way.
Chinese bureaucracy are having
so you might wonder what a limb clinic actually is and why I am spending all my time trying to find the bloody thing. Limb clinics you can actually buy practice kits from and certain health-related upgrades.
I don't care what kind of operation is going on.
Kind of important.
Now let me in.
Bell Tower is conducting an investigation in this building, sir. No admittance.
Well, that's kind of annoying, because I'm pretty sure that's the direction I need to go in order to get into the sodding limb clinic. It's actually also where I need to go in order to activate this next area. I don't want to actually go there anyway. I need to be a bit higher up, because I need to go and deal with this side mission. I don't want to go in there, because that will trigger story stuff. So.
Malik, you might have been right about that trap. Hengsha Court Garden is under lockdown. by Bell Tower Associates.
Bell Tower? They're the police in Lower Hengsha, Jensen. They're under contract with the Chinese government. You think the Chinese...
I won't know anything until I get inside that penthouse.
请不要再烦我。
That's not a very nice thing to say. Asleep on the job. How incredibly lazy. Sadly, there's nothing useful in there, but... See, now she will be fired. I'm scumbag Jensen. What can I say? Yeah, don't worry, that was not a story spoiler of any description. There is conspiracy going on, and people are involved. Her! Yes, shock horror. You don't have to worry too much about that. And that's actually a train. You can go to a different district entirely here. That's bloody crazy. This place is enormous! This subway does remind me of a certain other subway, but there are no explosive barrels around here, so perhaps it's not quite as ridiculous. Oh yeah, and also fire extinguishers can be used as a combat method in this game, just like in the original. You throw them too hard, they actually spray gas all over the place, which can cause people to choke. You can throw them at people, it's pretty neat. As demonstrated. I'm a fan of that, I very much am. Oh look, things to hack! Shall we go in here? Of course we shall. Okay, so... let me think about other things to talk about within this game, because I do want to be as thorough as humanly possible. Story. As far as I can tell, the storyline does seem to be extremely intelligent, which I was actually quite surprised by, because I thought the original concept behind the story was kind of dumb. It's like, who would really be against human augmentation? But once you get into the story, you realize exactly why, and there are all sorts of different good reasons.
Access granted.
Also, the fact that Jensen gets effectively augmented because he has to, nice, as opposed to being willing about it, is that affects him as a character. Although you can make choices that will make it out to be that Jensen is much happier with that decision than you originally thought. So, it's a bit of a change there. Ooh, it's a vent. Let's go through the vent. That might be a way of bypassing our way in here. We may also get an Explorer bonus for this. Of course, you could fight your way through there, but it seems like a very silly thing to do. Yeah, as you can see, there is a nice, simple, stealthy approach of getting in here. But I actually don't want to be here anyway, so I'm not too concerned. But that does show you the air vents going on nonetheless. So yeah, the storyline is extremely mature, and what you do have to do, really, to enjoy it to its highest point, which was the same with the original game, is you've got to read all of the media you find in this game. You've got to listen to all of the conversations. You've got to link a lot of these things together, because there are side plots that are not even integrated into the game in any meaningful way. They're just part of emails and conversations and things like that. You learn about characters without even meeting them, which, as far as I'm concerned, is kind of cool. Very cool, in fact. It does encourage you to explore the game at your own pace. If you don't care about that kind of stuff, it is not forced into you. And that is a good thing. Very good thing indeed. Looks like there might be some other accessories around here. Intriguing. Phone conversations are always cool to read as well. Listen to, in fact. And there are an awful lot of them. Now, do I have the necessary jump skill to get up here? Looks like I do. I can get all the way up here. This might be a convenient way of getting where I need to go.
If anyone crosses this perimeter, give them one warning. If they ignore you, start shooting. We can't risk infiltration.
Do I give my warning in English?
What kind of question is that? Whatever the fuck language you want.
I can't speak Mandarin. What if they don't understand me?
Everyone understands the universal sign language of the pointed pistol. Trust me, Lieutenant.
Sup, son? Stealth in action, ladies and gentlemen. Non-lethal takedowns, very, very nice. The crossbow in this game is actually lethal, by the way. And that allows me to talk about the fact that there are no ammo types in this game. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Well, it's definitely not a good thing. That I can tell you for a fact. But it's not as bad a thing as you might imagine. Now, this all links into the economy system for the game. It looks like I might have pissed a few other guys off, which is not so great. This may not have been the best choice. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, they're coming in this direction. Not ideal. I can show you a different weapon that I have here. If I do this right, I should be able to knock both of them out. Oh dear. Well, I really hope that would have been more effective than it was. Okay. Well, I screwed that up completely.
Reloading.
He should go down from that, eventually. I have alerted them to my presence, which is not really what I was looking for. Oh god, ow, ow, ow. If you screw up your combat, by the way, like that, you're down. You are dead. There's no doubt about it. So, it is pretty crazy. We'll avoid that for the time being, because we're not actually going in that direction. Of course, if I was more careful, then I could have stopped that from happening. Now, ammo types. So, the variety of ammo types in the original game did add quite a bit of variety, for obvious reasons. Yes, variety adds variety. It's funny, that, isn't it? TotalBiscuit, talk properly, please. So, in this game, there are no ammo types, but there are special upgrades available for each weapon. And as a result of ammo, I wouldn't say being more readily available, it's more reliably available. Because you've got vendors in this game, whereas in the first game you had NPCs that would have stuff that they would sell. So they'd say, you could buy this for 300, this for 500. There are proper vendors in this game that you can actually buy and sell to, including ammunition. Pretty much anything you can carry, you can sell. And that means that it's much, much easier to gain access to the ammo types that you want and use the weapons that you want. So, more often than not, you were kind of forced to improvise in the first game. Oh my, I've actually been detected. It's not a big deal. I can easily hack it before that's a problem.
Access granted.
In this game, you don't have to improvise so much. And indeed, because you don't have melee weapons, you really don't have an option to improvise an awful lot. Speaking of improvise, we can smash our way through there if we so desire. And we have the augment that will allow us to break through walls. Do break through walls whenever you can, because often there's wonderful goodies in there. What that does give me is an alternate access route that will allow me to bypass all of these guys entirely if I was just sneak in without fighting. And I believe there's also a vent there that would also allow me to get in, so it's all kind of cool. It's not actually what we're looking for here, by any stretch. We're actually heading in this direction, but hey, it's neat to demonstrate that. But yeah, I feel like this game could have certainly used the ammo types, but I don't miss it all that much. I mean, for instance, here, this pistol has an armor-piercing augment that will allow it to go through dermal plating and body armor and things like that. Whereas in the other game, that would have been an armor-piercing round or whatever. So, I'm alright with that. It's not too shabby, and you can have plenty of weapons available to you at any given time, and you've got a lot of variety there nonetheless. It's still kind of peeves me that it was one more thing that was removed that really didn't need to be. Maybe it didn't need to be in the game, but it certainly didn't need to be out of the game either. It doesn't benefit the game by it not being there. But, once again, this is a small nitpick, which is a lot of what I'm talking is all about. Aside from that, the gunplay in general is really, really solid. They've gone away from the RPG-style system that they had in the first game, whereby you had to train in particular weapons. You can use any weapon you so desire, but of course it really comes down to being able to carry the damn thing, because inventory capacity is a big deal in this game. You can increase your inventory capacity by getting upgrades to it in the augmentation system. Lord knows how that actually works. I don't really want to know where he puts his stuff. Honestly, I just work here, you know? So I'm not too concerned about that. But it's, once again, fine. It works within the context of this game. That's something that I think a lot of Deus Ex fans need to get into their heads. And, you know, I'm one of the biggest Deus Ex fans that I know. You have to understand that the stuff they've put within this game works within the context of this game. You might say, oh, well, why have they not done it like the original? Because this works in the context of Deus Ex Human Revolution. It may not have worked in the context of Deus Ex, but it does work in the context of Human Revolution, which is not the same game. Let's do a little bit of augmentation, shall we? I've been upgrading my pistol's ammo capacity for quite some time, so there we go. Reload this, and suddenly now it has 19 bullets in it. I barely ever need to reload this damn thing. It is my trusty pistol, and just like the original game, the pistol is one of the best weapons in the game. Although, I've not really found a weapon in the game that isn't good, honestly. They're all cool in their own different ways. And yes, there is a sniper rifle. You might be concerned that because there's a crossbow and a tranquilizer rifle that there won't be a sniper rifle. No, there's a sniper rifle. There are a lot of different weapons in this game. Although, from what I've seen thus far, there are no melee weapons, which is really, really weird. And again, I'll probably never get used to that. Considering the amount of melee weapons that were in the original
你
game.
看不起我啊，老外，你根本不了解这个城市。
Is there anything about looking
就
down at
算
you?
你有改装过，也不一定代表你能成功。不信，你只
Quiet. Once again, using a battery for that. Just what? Such a silly system. Okay, I believe the downtown apartments is where we needed to be. Actually, yeah, probably. Let's make our way in here.
Hi, are you visiting Hangshaw or are you a loyal Taiyunger?
See what we can find. Alright, I'm not actually sure if this is the right place, but it might get me to a rooftop. It'll take me to the right place. You'll find a lot of rooftop exploring and things like that ends up happening in this game. And that's all kind of related to the way that the navigation works, that it's a little tricky to find where you're supposed to be going. You know where it is on the map, but you don't know how to get there. For instance, there's a big area in the first hub that is really hard to navigate. You have to reach a certain point, and it took me ages to actually get up there. It was very frustrating, but I have a feeling that's my own personal problem as opposed to an issue with the game.
Ah, a visitor to Lower City.
Alright, okay, so he's in that apartment building over there. Question is, can I get over there? Yep, it looks like I can. Just a quick run and a jump, and now we are in the correct area in order to deal with this. Gotta be nice and careful. I don't want to alert him, so I'm gonna...
We'll find her. I don't care what your excuses are.
Is that about Ning? I have a feeling that's about Ning. That's cool.
Ning, how could one little bitch escape from a cage, let alone get past that many armed guards? You will die!
I think not. Well, that was easy enough. Okay, so we can plant drugs here. Ooh, revolver. So I can either kill him, or I can plant drugs in his apartment. Again, I'm not the murderous sort, so I'm going to go with the planting drugs thing. There we go. Drugs have now been planted.
To China now as details about a bold maneuver by biotech corporation Taiyong Medical continue to emerge. Sources close to the multinational...
There are a lot of news broadcasts. You'll want to pay attention to them.
Corporation Enprotech of Scotland. Enpro stock had taken a dip earlier in the day.
Go and have a look now. Is there anything useful in his palm? No, surprisingly Spartan. Doesn't actually have a computer to hack or a safe or anything like that. Always worth checking the walls to see if there's anything here.
Millions of dollars in revenue ended up in his personal account.
Hush. I'd like to take that revolver, so let's see if there's anything I can actually drop. It's not a big weapon. This mine, I don't think we need that fragmentation mine. There we go. The revolver is a cool as hell weapon, but I don't really have the ammo for it. But I'm going to take it so I can sell it later. That's often the case with weapons that you don't use. You end up picking up several copies of them, which is kind of weird, because since the game has an economy system, you think, well, just pick up like 5 or 6 pistols and sell them. But if you have a pistol, it'll just take the ammo out of it, so... It's kind of janky in that respect, and I think it's kind of to stop you trying to power game it, but you can still power game it anyway if you do it the right way. So, yeah. I should get a jumping orb that'll actually let me go higher here. Huh. I can actually bypass this area and have a look around the rooftops. So much to explore. Now, is there anything that I haven't covered? I think what I'd have liked to see in this game is the idea of more consequences for lethal, non-lethal. And it also brings me on to perhaps the biggest problem I have with this game. And that is forced boss battles. There are some forced boss battles in this game that you cannot avoid. Now, this is not the way that the original Deus Ex was. Some of the less informed people will say that it was, and there were unavoidable boss battles. They would, of course, be incorrect, and anyone that's played the game a great deal knows exactly what I'm talking about. Those boss battles could be avoided. You could go through that game, I believe, without actively killing a single person. It's as simple as that. It was entirely possible to do. And I say actively killing for a reason. I don't want to tell you about it because it might be a bit of a spoiler for those who haven't played the original. If you haven't played the original, what the hell are you doing? Go play the original. The forced boss battles kind of suck, and some people have made the argument that it works in terms of the story because you are forced and pressured into a situation that you cannot avoid, and that makes the game a little bit awesome in that respect. Don't start with me. That is unwise. I do not think that helps the game at all, honestly. I really, really do not. And the boss battles, I believe there's only 3 of them in the entire game. They get in the way of everything else. I can be stealthy, I can avoid stuff, and it kind of punishes you for being a stealthy character. And I suppose I'm thankful that weapon skills are not in the game as a result of that, because if I was playing, say, a pistols-only character, I'd probably be in a ton of trouble in a lot of these boss battles. I need maybe a bit of heavier firepower to deal with them. But it is really unfortunate that those boss battles are forced on you in that respect. They are, for me, the low point of the game. There's also something else which kind of links into this because these are often used in relation to boss battles. FMV cutscenes. No. No, 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 no. Don't do it. You want to know why you don't do it? There's a couple of reasons. One, it pulls you right out of the game. This is full of explosive barrels. Excuse me for a second. I'm not doing anything remotely unusual here. No, no, no. Actually, the gangs are over here. So yeah, I can talk about this in the meantime. So, the biggest problem, especially on the PC with cutscenes, is that they are actually very low resolution. And they look way worse than the in-game engine. Why? Mostly video artifacting. I don't know what they're compressed to, but they're probably compressed to around 720p. If I play in 2560 and 1600, I can visibly see the difference between the cutscenes and the in-game engine. That sucks. It really, really does. It's horrible. And it really does take me out of the experience. Don't use them. There's nothing, and I do mean nothing, that this engine cannot do that they're doing in cutscenes. Usually that's what happens. If you have a cutscene, it's because the engine can't do it within the engine. In this case, it absolutely can. As far as I'm concerned, there is no real doubt about that. It can do it. Nothing unusual going on here. I like how they simply do not react to the fact that there's a bunch of explosive barrels there. It's wonderful. Not that they would. Okay. Now just light the fuse. Well, that seems to do the job. Now, I was non-lethal. And don't worry, I'll reload after this, but... I never actually used the crossbow before. That was quite satisfying. I like that. I also killed a bunch of innocent civilians in the process. But hey, it's all good. Yoink and yoink. But yeah, boss battles, cutscenes. Pretty awful. I'd also...
Please don't kill me.
I won't kill you. I will demonstrate how terrible that cutscene is. Because he wasn't actually... He wasn't on the freaking...
He's trying to kill
The guy
me.
was on the ground. That's the stupid thing. The guy was on the ground. And yet suddenly, when I press the cutscene button in order to activate the canned knockdown animation, that happens. Do we really need canned takedown animations? Can we not just have the old system? Maybe refine it just a little bit? Yeah, I know. It looked a little bit dumb. In fact, it looked extremely dumb. But it looked less dumb than that. Now, if there's maybe one other thing that I perhaps don't like all that much is the fact that you don't seem as involved with the guys on the other end. When you were in Deus Ex, yeah, you had Alex in your ear pretty much all the time, and he'd actually react to a bunch of stuff. In this game, you've got a character called Pritchard, who is an insufferable prick, for one thing. And secondly, he doesn't really get involved with your stuff all that much. I mean, I haven't spoken to him now for hours. And I kind of feel a little bit alone in that respect.
Don't stay here, Lawai.
Once again, this is all subjective stuff. Now we come to, I suppose, the conclusion of this, which is it good? It is freaking blinding. If this is not one of my favorite games of the year, I'll be very surprised. I would actually be really happy if it wasn't. You want to know why? That would mean that some other game has actually managed to go even further than this. Deus Ex Human Revolution is a goddamn triumph of storytelling and open-world FPS RPG gameplay. Eidos Montreal have done the absolute best job they possibly could of creating a Deus Ex game. It is absolutely 110% fantastic. Yes, it's got a ton of issues. Yeah, an absolute ton of issues. But I think it speaks volumes to just how well this story is told and how good the rest of the game is that these issues don't actually bother me all that much. And they really, really don't. Even that one, for instance.
Who are you?
I am Batman. True story. And my pistol is freaking better than anything you've got.
Please don't kill me.
Do I have a... Yeah, I do have a round of that. Yeah, quite dangerous, as you can see.
Trying to give me a heart attack.
Trying to give me a heart attack? Yeah, I've killed most of the people surrounding your area. That's not a gun, that's a crossbow. Get it right. I am sorry, but that is funny. Can't seem to get my crossbow bolt back like the original game. Oh well. Whatever the case.
Trying to kill me.
I'm doing an exceptionally good job of it, I might add. This game is wonderful. It is without question worth your purchase. There is no real doubt about that. It is a triumph of gameplay in every possible respect, regardless of the problems it has. Everything about this game makes me want to play more of this game. Everything. Absolutely everything. It's brilliant. Well done. Well done, Eidos Montreal. They did such a good job.
Leave me alone.
My name is TotalBiscuit. That was a look at Deus Ex Human Revolution. I'll see you next time.